Good morning, grade 11s. Welcome to the first day, your first lesson of term 3. I hope you've had a really good break and you're looking forward to this term. My name is Miss Kasa and I'll be your teacher for this term. I'd like to welcome all of you, and remember, you are welcome to raise your hand if you want to participate, if you want to answer a question, if you want to comment, and I really do encourage that. Or you could also use the chat option and you can write your question and your answers. Please take notes of my email address. It's right there on the screen. You are more than welcome to send me your questions, your queries. It could be about today's lesson or it could be any content related question. I am here to help you. Please take notes of this. And I'm going to be giving you homework at the end of this lesson. So make sure you take my email address. You'll be emailing me your homework. Okay, so get your pens, your papers ready, whatever you're using to take notes, because this is a very, very, very important lesson. Okay, let's get started. All right, so today we're going to look at summary writing, and we are traveling into the future. It is the year 2055. I wonder how old you'll be by then, 2055. That's 35 years from now. So I wonder how old you guys will be by then. And if you look at your screen, there's a little boy there. His name is Alo. He's a 10-year-old learner, and he has to write a history report on the year 2020. So he comes to you and asks you to sum up 2020 in a few sentences. So I want to know from you, what is your answer to Alo? What do you say to Alo? He wants to know about this year, 35 years from today. So what do you say? Remember, you can raise your hand and you'll be given an opportunity to speak to the class, or you could just type your answer in the chat. I'd like to welcome all of you once more. Buhle, Busi, JJ, Kuzwayo, you are all welcome. And Dombi, you are all welcome in today's class. What would you say, just in a few sentences, what would you say to Alo? Just in a few sentences, just to help him with his history report. He wants to know about this year. So think about the past 7 months or the past 6 months of 2020. What would you say? Think of words that should be popping in your mind right now when you sum up 2020 to Alo. What would you say? Think of lockdown, pandemic. What else? What would you say? Okay. So those are the things that you would think about, okay? So that is just an example of a summary. So when you think of a summary with questions like the one that Alu had or similar ones, you could think about the what, the who, the why, the when. What's the other one? The how. Okay. So at the end of this lesson, these are the couple of things that you need to have achieved by the end of this lesson. You need to know how to select main ideas from a text. And you also need to know how to rewrite the main ideas in a text into short, simple sentences. And you'll also appreciate the importance of improving your summary skills, which is a very important skill that you use in your other subjects and you will use in future. Because when you talk about summaries, we're not just talking about what you do in your English class, but in everything else, in other areas as well. Okay, when you tell somebody a story of what happened, it's a quick summary. Okay, when you share about a book or a movie that you like, you're just summarizing that to somebody. Right. The last thing that you're going to, by the end of this lesson, you should understand that summarizing enhances your reading, writing, and comprehension skills. Right, so we're starting off with the nice true and false question. So, summaries give information from a story and include a lot of details. Is this a thumbs up or a thumbs down, true or false? So just think about that for a moment. Summaries give information from a story and include a lot of details. So you can write your answer down or you can raise your hand. What do you think? Is this true or is this false? JJ says false. Busi has raised her hand. Okay, Busi, we'll give you an opportunity to speak. And Ndombi also says false. Okay. Bushe, I'm trying to unmute you, Bushe, so you can give us your answer. Kuzaya says thumbs down as well. Okay, Bushe says false. All right. Okay, let's see if you are correct. Okay, Busi has raised her hand again. Okay, Busi. Oh, Busi. Okay, Busi. All right. I think I'm getting confused there. Busi or Bushe raised their hand. Please raise your hand again and then you can speak to the class. Okay, Busi. Ah, okay, there you go. Busi? Busi? Okay, Busi says thumbs down. All right. Hi, I'm struggling to hear you. Can you just start again? Busi?
Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
Would you like to give us your answer?
It's false.
Dear. Okay, why do you say it's false? Let's hear from you first.
Because you just include main points in a summary.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you, Busi. Thank you for sharing your answer with us, Busi. Okay, let's see if you are correct. And the answer is thumbs down. It is false. Okay, a summary is a shortened version of a longer text. They give information about things that occur in a story or event without, that's highlighted, without using a lot of details or information. So summaries are supposed to be short, concise, and specific. So with each sentence, only one main idea is represented, and always try to use simple sentences. In some cases, it doesn't have to be complete sentences because you'll be limited by the word count, but use simple sentences, straight to the point, short, specific, concise. Right, next question. Which answer is incorrect? When writing a summary, you should A, count the number of words to check whether you have to write more or cut down the words. Or B, identifying main or important ideas. C, ignore the question and focus on the instructions as a guide. D, plan your summary and write a draft. So which one is incorrect when writing a summary? Is it A, B, C, or D? Buhle says it's C. JJ also says it's C. Okay, let's look and see what C says. C says, ignore the question and focus on the instructions as a guide. Let's see. Let's see if C is correct. Yes, the answer is C. This is because you should follow the instructions and read the topic sentence. The topic sentence is very important because it tells you what you need to do. It tells you how to summarize the text. You could be doing the wrong thing by just looking at the instructions and ignoring the topic sentence. Next one. All right. Summaries are to write. So I want you to complete the sentence. So this is about you and your experience with summaries. How do you feel about summaries? Do you think they are difficult? Do you think they are easy? Is it A or is it C? Is it B? A or B? And you can raise your hand when you give us your answer and just share with us why you say that. Why do you say it's A? Why do you say it's B? Or you can just write it in the chat as well and tell us. JJ says, Tembi says B. Buhle says B. JJ also says B. Wow, okay. Easy. Oh, wow, that's fantastic. Okay. Anybody that finds summaries difficult, that thinks they're just such a challenge. Kuzaya says A. Okay. There's a lot of people that find summaries difficult, and this is for a number of reasons. Summaries are different from all the other types of writing that we ask from you. So when you do your comprehension, we always want you to explain, to give us examples. And this means a lot of detail, a lot of information. And now with summaries, we are saying, we don't want that. We don't need your opinion. You don't need to go and explain and give us a lot of information. We just want you to tell us what the writer is saying. We will need you to make it shorter. So it means no analysis and no opinion from your side. It is against everything that we want from you most times when it comes to writing, because especially with creative writing, we want you to use different kind of sentences. So use simple, compound, complex, and we want you to use different kind of voices. We'll ask you to use passive, we'll ask you to use active voice, and we'll say, just to make it more interesting, also include direct and indirect speech, have codes and direct codes. So, and we'll tell you to use figures of speech, use similes and euphemisms and comparisons in your writing, and it makes it challenging for some people to just now make things shorter. So that's what you need to bear in mind. Summaries are a total different ball game from all the other kind of writing that we ask from you. Okay. Another challenge that people find is that identifying main ideas is a difficult task, which is understandable. And we go back to the topic sentence when it comes to this one. The topic sentence will guide you on what to look for. The question, okay? The question will tell you what to look for, what the main ideas are. All right, at this point, are there any questions, grade 11s, anything you'd like to add to what I'm saying, or any questions or any comments? Okay, if you have questions or comments, you can just raise your hand or write down your questions. Summaries are part of paper 1 in your exams. And if you just look over there at question 2, it's section B, and they are worth 10 marks. Okay, it's not a lot of marks, but 10 marks can make a difference between getting a 70% and getting a 90% or 85%. So if you master this and maybe you struggle with other sections, then hey, it can just boost your marks just like that. Okay, and summaries, you need to spend 30 minutes doing your summaries. It's not a lot of time, it might seem like a lot of time, but it might not be, which means you need to plan very carefully on how you're going to tackle summaries, which is what we're going to look at now. Okay, there, that's question 2, section B there. Just focus on those areas. So let's have a look at a couple of features of a good summary. A good summary needs to be short, simple, to the point. Remember the point I made about your sentences being, you don't have to write in full sentences, okay? Depending on what is being asked of you. So you might be asked, list da 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 da. Then in that case, you're always guided by the question. Then when you list, you won't have to write in full sentences, okay? And another feature of a good summary is you are telling us what is most important to the author. What is the author trying to say? What are the main ideas they're trying to share with us? Right. See, this has to be written in your own words. And when we're speaking about your own words, you can use synonyms. You can, the whole point is to sum up, to make things shorter. So you will pick up the main ideas, but you need to change it into your own words. This is very important. And then when it comes to questions, I want to know from you, how do you deal with questions? How do you summarize a question? How do you summarize a question in a text? And you want to put it into your summary. How do you deal with questions? Any ideas? When it comes to questions and summaries, what do we do? How do we deal with questions and summaries? When we were summarizing? Do we just skip them, try and find another point, or do we stay away from them? What do you think? Should we stay away from questions? Should we keep clear of questions when writing a summary? Kuzayo says you should turn them into statements. Okay, that's good. And remember that you should also include the main ideas in the passage. So those are the features of summaries. We're going to look, Busha says you get an inside look at big deals. main ideas. Is that what you mean? You get an inside look at the main ideas. Can you please just, if I'm understanding you well, you mean main ideas. So we're going to look at a couple of steps on how to write a good summary. All right, so the first step is you have to read the question. Okay, you need to read the question carefully. The question will tell you what the summary is about. Okay, and you need to look for the key words in the question. These words will guide you so that you know what to look for in the text. Remember what we said, that you are spending 30 minutes on the summary. So what I want you to bear in mind is there's 5 steps to writing a good summary. So I want you to think about how much time you're going to spend on each step. So for this one, I want to know from you, how much time should we spend on reading the question? And finding out the key words in the question, and the key words will give us the topic of our summary. How much time should we spend reading the question? Remember, you have 30 minutes for everything. So we're breaking down time now. So I want you to think about that while we look at the actual question. So this is the actual question. Okay, so it says, the summer holidays are approaching. You have been asked to write a list of 7 safety tips for this period. Use the following passage to compile your list. So this is the question. We've just read it now. So how much time? Remember, you're not just only reading the question. You're finding out. You need to understand the question so you know what you have to do. So you're underlining things, you're breaking it down for yourself, and you're picking up the keywords, and you're going to turn the keywords into your topic for your summary. So for this question, the keywords is safety tips. How much time are we spending? Come grade 11s, how much time are we spending on the question? We've just read it and we've looked at, it could be seconds, could be a minute, but I need to know from you. Buhle, you say 3 to 5 minutes on the question, okay? Just on the question or on reading the text. Remember, there's 5 steps, so this is just the first step. We're just reading the question only. Do you think that's a lot of time, Buhle, or it's enough? Or are you including reading the instructions as well? Okay, so step 1 says read the question. So in step 1, it's not just reading the question, it's also reading the instructions, understanding what is required of you. So that's everything in step 1. Questions, instructions, so you are clear on what you have to do. So how much time are you spending on that? So far we've looked at the question. So now let's look at the instructions. So for this task, you have to list 7 points in full sentences using no more than 70 words. Okay. Number your sentences from 1 to 7. Write only 1 point per sentence, and remember to use your own words. And indicate the total number of words you have used in brackets at the end of your summary. So these are just the instructions. All right. And remember that when it comes to section B in your exam, the text that you'll be given is 250 words, and you're writing in point form. It will not always be possible to write in full sentences, okay? Because then it means you might go over the word count. For example, for this one, you have to write 70 words. Okay. But remember that each point must be a complete idea, a complete point, can stand on its own, and it makes sense. The whole point of summaries is that you can read them, make sense without having to look at the original text. Okay. Also remember not to quote or copy sentences directly from the text. Use your own words. This is important. Think of synonyms, and you can use a thesaurus when it's homework, but you can't do that in an exam setting. So these are the things that you need to remember. So let's look at that question again. How much time are we spending on reading the question and the instructions? We have 30 minutes. So now we've looked at both of them. Question and instruction, that's step one. How much time are we spending on that? How much time should you spend reading the question and instruction? Kozaya says 60 seconds, okay? So that's a minute. I think that's enough time because that leaves you 29 minutes. In those 60 seconds, you're finding out what you have to do. In those 60 seconds, you deciding what your topic for the summary will be, just from the question. Not even having to look at the text yet, just from the question. The question will tell you what the topic of your summary will be. So I think 60 seconds is sufficient time. All right. So you have to read, step two, you have to read the text, and you need to read it carefully. And you have to underline the key sentences that are related to safety tips. So we already know from the question that we are going to be reading about safety tips, and we need to make a list of safety tips. Right, so this is our summary, which is about 250 words long. Grade 11s, can someone please read the summary for us? Volunteers to read the summary. If you'd like to read, please raise your hand or just tell me in the chat. Remember what we said about by the end of this lesson, you will know and understand that summaries help you with your comprehension, reading skills as well. So let's practice reading. Okay, Kuzaya would like to read. Thank you, Kuzaya, for volunteering to read. Kuzaya, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi. Okay, before you start reading, Kuzaya, there's just something I need to say to the class. Remember, this is step two. You're reading the text, but you're also underlining, or you are considering the key sentences that you'll be using to summarize this text. Okay, so Kuzaya, I need you to read slowly, and if class, if you note a key sentence, just say the first few words of the sentence. Okay, so for example, let's say you think the key sentence is our country. Then you'll just write our country. Then we can just go back to that and see if that's correct, if that's a key sentence. Okay. If we are clear on that, please give me a thumbs up or yes, ma'am, okay, ma'am, so that Kuzaya can start reading. Are you clear on what you're doing while Kuzaya will be reading? If you are, thumbs up. Yes, ma'am. Okay. so I know that we can start. Grade 11s. Okay, JJ says yes, ma'am. All right, Megan also says yes. Okay, let's start. Go for it, Kuzayo. Remember slowly, not too slow though.
Summer is here, and those long winter days of being cooped up in the house are all but gone. But while we want to have fun, warmer weather comes with many hidden dangers, some of which can be fatal. The hot summer weather attracts all South Africans to water, but it is not just a pool that can pose a drowning risk. Our country also has many rivers, dams, and beaches. Regardless of their swimming abilities, children should never be allowed in the water without adult supervision. Avoid sunburn. Applying a good sunscreen and reapplying often is vital. This, go- this goes for all skin types. Use a good product and wear a wide brimmed hat for extra protection. Active people who sweat and sweat, active people who sweat a great deal become dehydrated easily. Drinking plenty of fluids to prevent dehydration is essential. Water, milk, and fruit juices are ideal, but drinks containing caffeine should be avoided. Insects carrying diseases love bushy areas as much as nature loves lovers do. A person showing signs of fever, headache, or fatigue may have been bitten by an insect. To avoid being bitten, use long-lasting insect repellents and cheap clothes with it too. Food poisoning is no fun. Use caution when eating food from picnic baskets in hot weather. Pack food in insulated containers and keep it cool with ice bricks. At a playground, ensure that all equipment is safe and be careful of hot surfaces like metal slides, which can cause serious burns. Always adhere to safety regulations because a fun ride on a scooter or skateboard without protective gear might end with you landing in hospital. A few simple precautions can ensure a healthy, happy summer in the great South African outdoors.
All right, fantastic. Thank you so much, Kuzaya. That was an amazing job. Well done. I don't know if you can hear me, but I'm
Yes,
snapping.
ma'am.
Well done.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, so that is our summary. I hope you've taken note of the sentences because we're going to look at them now. Your key sentences that you're going to make summaries for. So the first point is the first paragraph right at the end. Regardless of their swimming ability, children should never be allowed in the water without adult supervision. Remember, it's the list of safety tips. So this is tip number 1 on how to be safe. It's regarding swimming. Second one, remember with key sentences, it doesn't have to be the whole sentence. It could be part of the sentence and you can make it into one point. For example, number 2. Number 2 is broken down into 2, but it's 1 point. So this one is about sunburn. It says avoid sunburn. Applying a good sunscreen and reapplying often is vital. And wear a wide-brimmed hat for extra protection. That's our second sentence that we're going to make our second point from. 3 is about water. And number 4 is about insect repellent. Okay. And using an insect repellent. 5 is about food and baskets. And 6 is about hot surfaces and equipment at the playground. And 7 is about wearing protective gear and making sure that you don't land up in hospital. Okay, so those are our points. So let's look at, now you've read the extracts, you've picked up the key sentences, you're actively reading the summary. Okay, make sure that when you read, remember we're talking about time. Okay, my next question is, how much time are we spending reading the summary? We already know it's 250 words long. So let's go back to this one. So we said it is ideal to read the question and the instructions for a minute. You left with 29 minutes now. I want to know from you this summary. How much time? I think it's always better to plan ahead. So you just maximize your time. How much time should you spend reading this, a summary? Reading the extracts, I apologize. How much time should you spend reading the extract or the text, not the summary or the passage? 250 words long. How much time are you spending on this? Okay, think about that while we go to step number 3. 3, you have to make sure each of the sentences focused on safety tips. So it means you're going back to your underlined sentences, okay? And you number the sentences to make sure you have 7 points. For example, if you look at our text, we've underlined our points. Now you need to count if there is 7 points that you have, and if it's related to safety tips. All right. Lucy says 3 to 5 minutes. I think that's a good time because you're also going to check again if the points are related to safety tips. So far you've spent a minute on the question and the instructions, and now you're spending 3 to 5 minutes on the actual summary. So that's 6 minutes. Okay. So 4 is you need to draft and edit your summary. Now, this is the actual writing part. You need to write a draft summary. This is the list of your 7 points in your own words. Okay. Edit your work and correct any errors. And you have to count the number of words to check whether you need to write more or cut down on your words. Okay. All right, so these are our points. I hope you can see, it's a bit blurry. These are our points, and these are our points from the actual summary, the actual text, and the summarized points. Okay, so the first one says, regardless of their swimming ability, children should never be allowed in the water without adult supervision. And this is how we would summarize it. Always supervise children near water, even those who are good swimmers. Just by looking at the first point, you can see that the words are already shorter. Okay, and we use the word supervise there, which wasn't, it's your own word, which is good. These are the things you need to think about. Words that can just sum up, make things shorter, but still make sense. The second point was about sunburn, and we said there that in our own words, we would say protect yourself from the sunburn with effective sunscreen and a wide-brimmed hat. Short, simple, straight to the point. Remember what I said about your sentences, that you can't write simple sentences in the sense that you've learned about simple sentences where there's a subject, there's a verb, and there's an object. With summaries, it's not possible. You just have to write complete ideas, okay, because of the word limit. 3, the third point was about fluids, and our summary is keep hydrated by regularly drinking fluids. And the next one was about insect repellents. Our summary is use an insect spray on yourself when you're close to prevent harmful bites. The next one was about food, and we say avoid food poisoning by keeping food in picnic baskets. 6, check for unsafe hot playground equipment so you can stay away from it. 7, follow safety rules and wear protective equipment to avoid injury. So those are our 7 points. And here they are. Okay, now we've written them down and it comes up to 67 words. I want to know from you if there's anything differently you would have done with our summary. If there's any words that you feel like, okay, this could have been said differently, this doesn't make sense. I just want to hear your comments about how we have summarized the text. Is there anything you would change, you would add, you don't agree with? What would you do differently? Okay, while you think about that, let's have a look at the checklist. This is a checklist that you need to create in your head. You need to make sure that, so you go back to the instructions to make sure that you've met the requirements, okay? The instructions told you that you need 7 facts, you need to write 70 words, and you need to include your word count, and you need to rewrite sentences in your own words. So you need to make sure that what the instructions told you, you have done all those things. So that is your checklist. When you're done, read your instructions again and check if you've followed the instructions, and you can tick in your head if you've done all these things. All right, so this is from the teacher's side, what I need you to do. And if you want to get 10 marks, this is what you have to do. Okay. You have to give me 7 points. 7 correct points. Not only that, the other 3 marks come from the grammar, the spelling, the punctuation errors. Okay. That's how you get your 10 marks. 7 marks are for correct points, 3 marks are for grammar, spelling, and punctuation. So it is very important that once you've written your draft, you go back to it and you edit so that you can get the extra 3 marks, or you'll just get 70%, and that will be it. Remember, 30 minutes on the summary. Okay, so it is your turn again. I want to know from you, after today's lesson, how would you complete the sentence? You can summarize. Summaries are A, challenging but doable, easy and fun. A or B? And you have to tell us why. A or B? So you're answering the question, summaries are to write. Challenging but doable, easy and fun, which one? Kuzai says A, challenging but doable. Okay, Kuzai, why do you say that? Just share a bit of your view on that one? Okay, while you guys are answering that question, this is what I want you to write down or take a picture of my email address, because I am sending you homework. With your homework, please make sure that you do it in Word document, please. Okay, and if you can't use Word document for some reason, let me know and we can talk about how you can give me your homework. So I want to know from you if you have any questions from today's lesson, anything you want to ask, anything you're unsure about. Do you have any questions? Okay, I'm sending you your homework. If you have any questions, please email them to me. Okay, we are done with today's